you all, whether you are in this room or online. It is the first webinar that we are hosting. And as a first, obviously, there might be some glitches. There might be some difficulty for you guys on the other side of the camera to hear us well. If there was any sort of issue, please give a call to ROE, who is your main point of contact at the moment at the business development. She will be trying to sort you out with any kind of issues, IT related or business development related, during this presentation. If you were to interact with me, it would be easier to turn on your webcams so that I can see you, and eventually you can try to speak as well on your end if you have a microphone, so that I can hear you. Eventually I can respond back immediately. All right, this session is for everyone. When it comes to being a trader or not being a trader, it doesn't require any specific trading level. So, sorry, can you please show this? I told you there will be some glitches today. So there's no level required. I'm going to try to keep it as much simple as possible for your own understanding. And I will invite you to ask me as many questions as you want. Well, let's try to make it as much interactive as possible, even with the online group. If there was any issue, as I'm saying, I'm sorry again. It's the first time we're conducting this experiment, but for you in the room, you can ask as many questions as you want. All right, so I will start with this topic of behavioral analysis. It's the first time we are talking about it. Most people, please, sorry, guys, can there be always someone here standing by so that eventually if there's any glitches, you can respond. I will be starting by giving you an idea of what is behavioral analysis. Can you please also sit? Don't stand. Thank you. So, can you guys hear me on the other side? Can you type in on the chat? At least let me know if you can hear me all. It will be easier for my group here to okay, is audio on? Loud and clear from India, very good. Jigar, we have one of our clients who can hear us from India. So I believe the audio issue yeah, would be related to your microphone. Maybe it's not plugged in. Maybe you didn't turn on your speakers. I don't know. Please try to test your line and come back to us on the chat if there's any issue. Okay? All right. So I would like to start by helping you understand what is behavioral analysis. In trading, people who are approaching trading can approach it in three different ways. Whether we speak about fundamental analysis by looking at the market for the long run, for the bigger time frame picture. These people will be most interested in analyzing the market through the angle of a company. If they were interested to trade equities, by analyzing the microeconomic aspects of the company, going through all the typical ratio type of analysis, whether it is about profitability ratios, solvency ratios, any type of analytics that could give them an idea whether the price of that share is undervalued or overvalued. In the case where they would be undervalued, people would be interested to make up that difference between where the price is, where it is supposed to be. So trading is about the simplest. The definition of a trading is trying to take a trade, take an entry position in the market, which seems to be either very cheap to buy or very cheap to sell. So it's about finding the level in the market where you don't see the price at its right level, at its right position. And you are looking at bringing the price somewhere down to where it is supposed to be. And trade through a fundamental analysis approach could be a good way of making money, but this approach doesn't guarantee you that you'll be making money in the next 12 hours, 24 hours, or even the next week. It is a long-term approach. And for that approach, you need to allow yourself a lot of patience and to carry a position over a lot of different change in the fundamental approach in the market. But you have such a long-term view that even though something was to go wrong for this company or for the environment that this company is trying to benefit on, even though you would still believe that this company has a chance to reach the potential of that price that you want it to go to. It is called a target profit. So you can do it like this, having a big picture where you would consider the question in which direction the market is supposed to go. And that is what we call the fundamental analysis approach. So the answer to that would be what direction the market is meant to go to. The number two approach is a little bit more short term, looking at the options of carrying a trade for something like a few hours up to a couple of months, or maximum 3 months time. For this particular approach, there is another form of analysis that exists, which is called technical analysis. Don't get me wrong, technical analysis can be added up to the fundamental analysis. You can trade based on both types of analysis, which is actually adding more value to you. Because if you have a view whether the market will be going from point A to point B, and you want to take the trade in this direction, you want to be able to time your entries perfectly. You want to be able to get in with a protection level that is a little tighter, a little more tighter than the fundamental analysis stop loss. So that stop loss level that you could impose to yourself in the technical analysis will not exist in fundamental analysis. You understand my point? That stop loss will have to be very, very, very wide in the fundamentals for you to be right. But if you are trying to play in the market in order to guarantee you some kind of reward that is exceeding your risk, that is more generous than your risk, you will have to work on your precision level. And entering with precision is the job of the technical approach. Here, you will answer the question when to enter and where to enter. What is the right time? What is the right time, and what is the right place for you to enter the market? So the third part, the third approach that we will have, and this is where I'm getting into, is called behavioral analysis. This is, in other words, is similar to price action study. We are evaluating the capacity of the market to be intelligent, because we're trying to understand the story. So we are trying to follow that story by going through the angle of who is entering in the market and why they're entering there, why they are doing what they are doing. This is, hello, how are you? This is fundamental as a question. You know, I believe you can't make a complete analysis of what is about to happen in the future if you don't have some kind of answers into what is actually happening right now. The technical analysis approach is more on what happened in the past. And the fundamental approach is looking at the long-term future. So we have a gap here. We don't know what's going to happen into the immediate future by looking at that kind of analysis that we have, because the information that we carry to analyze the market is not enough. And we don't have something called in Forex, for example, level 2 data, which is the understanding of the behavior of the buyers and the sellers at any point of time through their volume. What is the outstanding buy volume and the outstanding sell volume in the market at any point of time. We don't have this kind of data, but we do have that kind of information in the different type of asset class, which is called futures. Futures, we will not speak about it today. I'm just mentioning it just for the purpose of understanding that in futures we have the option to look at the very immediate present situation in the market, so we can anticipate on what will happen in the near few seconds or in the near few minutes. So we can scalp the market. Scalping is this game, is this idea of entering and exiting the market very fast. We can have that kind of possibility when trading the futures market. But when it comes to Forex, we are blind. We don't see the present. And we have to understand the market, the behavior of the market participant, without looking at the present. So I have built this program in Forex by bringing in the behavior analysis approach that I have applied to my trading in futures. And this way, you will be able to get to the bottom line of who is entering and why they are doing what they're doing. And by combining the three, you have a better chance to check in that you want to buy for the fundamental reason that the energy of the market is going up because of what is happening at a geopolitical level, what are policymakers saying, what are the leaders' speech saying. You can also do your own, this is called macro analysis environment. You can micro analyze eventually if you are trading the stock. This is all the analysis level for the long-term game. We can also look at the fundamentals from a shorter game perspective. And that kind of analysis requires that you understand in the last day or in the last 2 days who is stronger than the other in the market. Are the buyers acting more strongly than the sellers, or are the sellers acting more strongly than the buyers? And that is possible to analyze through a method called market sentiment. We have a way, not everyone could have access to it, but the big market makers and the banks would have an access to, at any point in time, who is more important than the other, the buyers versus sellers versus buyers. They do send you guys a report at the end of the week called the commitment of traders. And the problem is, it's always hindsight. It's always coming when it's too late. The energy of the buy and the sell has already been put in the market. So you don't get to know when that energy is on the day-to-day approach. But there are also some websites that can offer you a kind of idea what are the buyers' likes versus the sellers, but that will not be perfectly genuine. That will not be 100% reliable as that. So I'm not going to promote that. I'm just trying to tell you it exists. You can fundamentally analyze the market intraday through the energy between the buyers and the sellers. Having said that, if you have a view that it's a good time to buy due to some fundamental reasons. Now, technically speaking, is it cheap to buy? You do your analytics. You try to understand where you stand from the grand scheme of things. So you are analyzing the time frame you are sitting on, but you also need to look at different perspectives, because only watching one story in the market doesn't give you enough information, enough support for you to believe that your energy, your entry point has the right kind of energy for the market to go up. You obviously have to check on what is going on with the high time frame. And the high time frame will tell you if yes or no, you buy, is a healthy buy or not. So that is at the technical analysis level. And on the behavior analysis side, well, the good thing is if we have checked the first two, there's only one thing to do from the last point, understanding why is it a good time to buy. Understanding who's entering at the time where you enter. Trying to understand if there's a genuine reason to believe that there will be an appreciation in the market by knowing that, oh, you will be supported by a volume of players who are acting now as a leader, who are acting now as a follower, a courageous follower. So we will go through that today. I'm not going to cover all these, obviously I don't have the time, but just for you to know, I have covered some technical analysis concepts previously, and you're free to join me on another webinar when we will cover a technical analysis, whether it's about chart patterns, whether it's about learning or how to recognize the trend from a range. We will do this. Now, what I'm going to tell you today, obviously, will be a mix between a little bit of technical and a little bit of behavioral. I need to teach you first what is a trend versus what is a range. Otherwise, you won't understand anything of what I'm about to tell you today. So let's start with this. First of all, before I get into what is a trend, I need you to understand there are three different types of market participants in the market. You know what the market is. I can always give you another definition of a market. It's just a place where buyers and sellers mutually agree of one particular price, and people will transact at this price if they are in agreement towards that. And when the market price goes up or goes down, it is because of the inertia of buyers versus the sellers. In other words, it's because of the supply versus the demand, or the demand versus the supply. How many buyers there is to wish to buy versus how many sellers selling volume there is that wish to sell at the same time. If more buyers are in, it's as simple as you need to buy, you are the grocery store, you want to buy banana, and there are just a limited number of banana on display, and you just want more of what is available. So what is available is at a certain price, but you're in a street full of other grocery stores. So you will first check on the cheapest of these bananas. Then you will buy them all. If you want more, you'll have to look for the next price. And if you are still willing to buy more of those bananas, you will look for the next price. And that's how, through an auction system, the price keeps moving up in time. And the selling happens exactly the same way. If there are more people looking at selling off their position or with their volume of merchandise, and there is a very limited amount of buyers there, well, they won't have the choice than to bargain their merchandise. They will have no choice than to lower the price to meet what the demand wants. It's just as simple as this. So looking at how the price breeds over time, I'm going to show you something. How do I get back? All right. This is the price, okay? For those of you who have never seen a chart before, this is just a visual representation of how the price moves. Guys, this is just a visual representation of how the price moves over time. This horizontal bar here is the time. The vertical bar here is the price. So you will appreciate the price will appreciate when you see that little price here going up, and the price depreciates when it goes down. As simple as this. And over time, that means the market will move from left to right. So this is what we see. Coming back to another way of visualizing this price action, which is a little more filled up with information. You can get to see when the price opens and closes, because you get to see now the price action every 1 hour, meaning you will see one of these bars called candlestick every 1 hour of market time story. And when the hour is finished, the bar closes, and you will see a new bar starting at the beginning of the next hour, and so on and so. So, having seen that you have a lot of bars like this of 1 hour each, you can always to see the market story in bars displaying 4 hours of market stories. You can do it in many different time frame ways. So the story is pretty much fractal, meaning that whatever you see on different time frames, it always moves in the same manner. It moves in waves, all right? It doesn't move in stairway, it doesn't move in triangle, it moves in waves most of the time. And that's just because of the nature of how the market is organized, because we are became human. Can expect the price to do certain things at certain point of time, which is what we will discuss today. So, just for your own understanding, when I'm showing you this chart, it's just for you to see that the price has a certain attitude of going up in a waving manner. As you can see, the price waves up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And it will do the same on the down, up, and down. So of course, the question is always to know when it will stop down and when it will stop going up and take advantage of this. Well, you will see it's not always about selling cheap, selling high, and buying low. It's pretty much about doing the opposite. You will understand later on why. The market has a certain way of acting, and most of the people trading today in the market are trading in a very human way, in a very, they perceive the market from a very amateurish point of view. If the price is to go up, they think it's a good time to sell. If the price is to go down, they think it's a good time to buy. So, absolutely, if the market was to go down, after you sell, and if it was to go up after you buy. Unfortunately, it is not happening most of the time. And I will explain to you why. So before I go into what is happening in the market, you need to understand there are 3 market participants at 3 levels of time frames that are different. The number 1 are the big players, the ones that are generally making the market. They are the ones deciding what they want to do with the price. They have a lot of volume in the market, and they can push it to whatever extent they want. These guys are big banks, financial institutions, generally the major ones, big investment companies like Berkshire Hathaway. Yes, absolutely. The whales are these big players. So, coming to that, let me just write it. Absolutely. So we have the whales. These whales, sorry, I have it. Sorry. The whales, yes. No, sorry. So the whales are what? Big banks. You'll have investment companies. You have pension funds, insurance funds, mutual funds, etc., etc. You will also see in there the major corporations like Boeing, Airbus, Danone. Yeah, they trade a lot. That's what the market is meant for. Institutions. I'm just going to go through a quick definition of what the market is meant for. Sorry. Okay. I won't write it like this. Sorry, guys. Up. Major corporations. Yeah. So we have investment banks as well. All right, so let me see that I wrote it here. Right, good. Number 2. So these are the whales. We call them also in a different way in the market. We call them the real money players because they have so much volume. Then when they put that volume in the market, they basically don't need to borrow any of that money from somewhere, from any bank or any financial institution. The number 2 will be the sharks. And these guys are called the leveraged money players. And you will see in the hedge funds, fund of funds, real estate, investment trust, schemes, and so on and so on. You have, as last, you can call them the small fish, you can call them the Nemos, you can call them the way you want. So we have here what we consider as the fast money players. The leverage money, just for you to understand, are the people who need to borrow money to look big as the big banks, eventually to be able to interact with them. The fast money players are speculators. You will find out proprietary traders. And they will be in their trading companies. Like here in JLT, you'll find trading arcades like us, and so on and so on. So just to give you an idea, in the market we have, yeah. Why is it not fast money and the other fast money? I'll come to that. Yeah, it's a very good question. So let's start with the first one. The whales, they make the market. This is the reason why the market exists in the first place. The market is the environment where they will be mutually able to send the big flows of transactions from production to wholesaling, from wholesaling to retailing, and all these are possible. And for you to get your milk delivered from New Zealand to the shelf of the supermarket in less than 24 hours without that milk to be thrown out, it's possible because they are anticipating on the need. There's always a market that is giving you that possibility through that market through platforms, basically wholesaling and retailing platforms, to make those transactions possible. So you don't see it, but the wholesales is pretty much the biggest market in the world, and they are transacting big bulk of quantity from point A to point B, and they need the market for many things. They need to hedge the risk of currency fluctuation. By the time somebody buys something to them, and by the time that thing is delivered to the buyer, only once the buyer receives his merchandise, then he gets to pay. But the thing, he's already agreed to pay a certain amount. But from the moment that agreement was done to the moment that he had to pay, the currency may have already fluctuated. So they need to hedge to protect themselves against the risk of currency fluctuation. That's one way of using the market. Market is also used for example, you buy 100 kilo of gold right now, and you have it physically, and you don't find a market, liquid enough to resell it immediately. But there's one guy who told you, okay, I'm going to be buying it from you, but only in 9 months. So you need to find a way to lock the risk for that price fluctuation. You are in agreement that that price is the right price, but you don't want the price now to fluctuate from now to 9 months from now. So what do they do, those big buyers of gold? They have the gold physically, and they are selling on a correlated market in order to hedge the risk. basically, that quantity they put on the sell side is equivalent to the quantity they buy. They do it on a correlated market, a market that is supposed to move and is designed to move in a very similar manner to the physical market. And basically, what you would need to do is simply to reverse the trade. If you were buying of that physical, because you hold it, you will be selling on a correlated market called futures, for example, because you know that it is guaranteed. You have a physical quantity backed up for that particular product. So there's no risk that you're buying something virtual and it means nothing in the market. It actually means something. And you will be able to carry that trade over to the next 9-month period. And eventually the only cost that it will be inducing to you is the cost of transaction for you to perform this hedge. You will be buying something like a commission to the broker, and that's it. You have not carried any market price risk. You understand? So this is all why the market is meant for. So think about the big market for the big players, as the big guys are all the buyers. They hold the physical. And at some point they need to hedge that risk, but the market will go down against them. So they would sell that physical on derivative markets, on correlated markets, on separated parallel markets. They can go into products like CFDs, options, futures. There are lots of possible ETFs and so on. Once they are selling on that correlated market, on that derivative market, they need a buyer to sell to. And this selling they put is a lot of quantity. Think about it. So if they want to make sure that they sell at a price that is good for them, they need to make sure there's a lot of buyers in front. Because if there's no buyer in front, remember what I told you before when I started this course? You have a lot of sellers, very few buyers. What's going to happen to the price? It's going to go down a lot. It's okay. It's going to go down. And that's not what they want. They want to sell at that price because they have a buyer at that price. And they don't want to lose on that sell. So they need a lot of quantity of buying. And they can have it by looking at where the sharks enter. The sharks are the number 2 category. They will leverage their size, whatever they have, to look 5 times, 10 times, 50 times bigger than what they are. And they will position their size in the market as if they are big. And they will be able to take the risk from the hand of the big player. They are the risk taker. Now they are this position buy against the big whale. They are exposed, the sharks. They need what? To look at the market for them to hedge their own risk, to protect themselves against that directional trade. How do they do that? They need to find somebody they can sell to. And they will not sell on the physical market because there's not enough liquidity on it. They will sell to another derivative market. They need to find other options for them to sell on. But they cannot find somebody that is as big as them. You understand the problem? And who is that somebody? Who's taking the risk for them? Us. We are at the end of the chain. Similarly, then, when you have to pay the VAT, you will be the end consumer, but at the end you pay the VAT for the retailer, but the retailer pays the VAT for the wholesaler, and the wholesaler pays the VAT for the producer. And who pays the VAT for everyone? Us. We are always the one coming in the market for what? To be the risk taker, to be the risk receiver for all these guys. So they don't want us because they want us to make money. They want us because we are the best reason for them to make money. We have to understand where we are in the grand scheme of things. We have to understand what place we are sitting on. We can't play our game, our small fast money game, playing at a level of entry that is visible from where we stand. We can't play that game. We will be too little. Exactly what the sharks are looking for, to locate us, the small fish, in order to be coming and hit us at the level where we are the most visible. The most visible level for us to enter on is what? At the top of the mountain when we want to sell, and at the bottom of the mountain where we want to buy. It's exactly where they know we are, because we will massively come in at this point of time. And they have to do that. Just push us a little bit more. See, if we were selling here, just us a little bit so that we will be touching our limit stop. It's called a stop loss. It's called it's a stop limit order. But basically, it's meant to be for you to not lose more than what you have already lost. Okay? Once they have touched that stop loss, that's it. They got what they want now. They can bring the price down. That's why you get all frustrated sometimes. You enter at levels you think are the good price, then you get out of the market, and after you got out of the market is going in your direction. And you're like, bloody hell, how is that every time they can see what I'm doing? Well, that's the number one impression most people would have. And again, you're not thinking outside the box by things like that. You're just thinking how to protect myself because you think I'm right, but I should not choose a stop loss. That level of mind is okay, but I should not choose a stop loss. What if I could tell you the best way to enter the market is to enter on the stop loss of people like you? And not only you keep your stop loss, but you enter at a better price, at a cheaper price. So that's what behavioral analysis is for. It's just for understanding the game. What is happening really inside the story of the market? Where the amateurs are actually entering on which level they're actually entering on. And eventually, where do they get stopped out? For us to anticipate what will be our next line of action. Yes?
Do you think that the way of
I'm saying you're right on one point. The whales make all the money they want because they can see everyone's stop loss. They have what we call the level 3 data. They can see our stop loss and everybody's stop loss because they are the ones who design the market. They make the platforms. They make the clearing. They can see you. They are the servers. You understand? The way the forex market is designed is that every click of ours is going through the bank. And then the bank decides what it wants to do with it. And each bank is its own server, has its own liquidity pool. It's a bit like a bank is its own club, and you are entering as a private member. You will trade with whatever liquidity volume that is transacting through that bank, not somebody else's bank, only that bank. But the bank itself is the alpha and the omega of the market. It takes everything it wants. Now, the broker, you were mentioning the sharks. You were mentioning the sharks. The sharks have a problem. They are in between receiving the risk from the big players and not being able to find us as clearly and as easily as what they would love to. Because they need to find us perfectly located at one spot to hit us there. The problem is that the big player can sometimes take advantage of that. So by the time they try to enter, they don't get all the money that we are giving them. Some of that money we share with the player. That's the first problem. Second problem is we are never going to put ourselves all at one place. Sometimes we are a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here. And you know what kind of energy it takes to hit with your hedge like this? You're never hedged. So there's always a risk. If the price is going against your first leg, there's always a risk for you to die or to lose more than what you can get from us, the small fish. So that's why the sharks are not making money. They used to make money when the market was less complicated. Today, with all the algorithms that are out there, all the artificial intelligence that is now conducting all these trades, they're basically not thinking in an advanced level enough for them to put all this volume. It's very difficult when you have a lot of volume to play that volume in the market. One, by being able not to be found by the big player, because you can be the victim of the big guys. You see, you are not able to move the market the way you want, and you are not able to be small enough to stay invisible, like what we need to do, staying invisible. So they are basically in between, too big to stay invisible and too small to be able to decide what they want to do of the market. In use. It's the episode since the 2000 is now called normal. In the previous phase when the market was actually on a buy hold strategy momentum from the 1950s roughly up to 2000, it was pretty straightforward. That's what we call a buy along, because people were buying to keep the position long term, and they were never putting themselves on a sell, because otherwise they would have to keep the position short and they would take more risk in seller. That's why people were making money this way. And since 2000, well, there's been the first drop because of the dot-com bubble, which has made the price depreciate by almost 40% of the rise, of the big rise. And then after that, it took quite some time. It took 8 years before the price came back to roughly the same level as what it went to. And again, another drop because of the housing market bubble, which has burst in the US, which has repercussions all over the world, and which was from a debt bubble point of view, which was much more severe than the 2001. And every new short-term debt cycle will always be severe because they keep on increasing the ceiling of the debt. So that's what happened. And now we are facing this ups and downs. And the difficulty we have is to be able to have a long-term picture on when will be the next drop for you to stand by a good low level to buy and get the rise of this momentum. So now, if you want to have a good episode as a value investor, you can't stay exposed in the trade more than 8 years, 7 years. Now, I'm talking about Warren Buffett, who's been in the same position since 1915. You can't do this anymore. Maximum is 5, 6 years. If you wait at the bottom of the recession and you ride it all the way during the reflation phase, or during the what we call the recovery phase, early expansion, late expansion, bam, we have to get out.
Central banks are printing so much money that they're back in the game again.
We are always back to where we should be starting. You're right, because at the end of the day, we can only spend what we produce. And our grandparents never had to borrow money to live well. Of course, they had to live with their own means, but they could not live by borrowing from their future self, by spending more today in order to restrict themselves to spend less than what they earn tomorrow. It was not like that. Now, since the launch of the credits and more credit lines for everything, for consumption, for investment, has been more present in the market, and since now we are giving credits to pretty much everyone. It's not the problem of the credit that makes the market drop. It's what we do with that credit. If you are, suppose, if you are a farmer and you want to buy a tractor with that money, and that tractor will help you crop a lot of products, and you are reselling those products, you make an adding value. You have done something positive out of this money. But if you borrow money just for you to buy a big, massive HD screen or whatever, LED screen, sorry for the new one, and that is just for you to throw empty can of beer at the TV while watching your best sport TV channel, it's a waste. And that's exactly what most people are doing. And when they go through a recession, they have been tightening their belt for too long. They are basically struggling. They want to get back into the old ways of living their life, you know. And it's like when you are preventing somebody from eating for a few days, and then you give him food. He's not going to eat slowly. He's going to start eating in a very nasty way. And that's the problem. We are just human. We always think of creating those bubbles, and there will be more bubbles because it's our human nature. As long as there is a credit consumption way of living our life, there will always be short-term debt cycle bubbles, because it's always about the debt. It's nothing else since 1929. So sorry, we've moved away from the initial explanation. So you understand those three phases: whales, sharks, and small fish. Now, obviously, if I tell you the whales, when it comes to a movement in the market, I'll show you. So there are two different phases that you can find in the market. One is called a sideways trend. See, the center of gravity of this trend is pretty much flat. Can be slightly upward, slightly downward, but there is no increasing in the value of the price on average. Okay? Now, if we were looking at the same kind of momentum, but this time there's a shift in the center of gravity, in the you understand what the center of gravity is. It's the energy of this market from its mean, from its middle ground here, which you see is clearly uptrending. If you were to see something visually that is pushing up like this, then you know there are buyers who are not satisfied with the price they used to be at, and they are trying to push the market with a lot of acceleration in order to get to a new level where, again, there could be an exchange between buyers and sellers at a level of price that they are mutually agreeing on. No. Simply, yes, there's a need for them to buy more than there are people needing to sell. And as the supply and demand is now getting unbalanced, more buyer, less seller, the seller are just trying to match the demand by increasing their price, by saying, okay, you want it at this price. Who wants it? Now, if you're still interested, but there is not enough volume to sell to all you guys, they will push the price up until you guys start leaving the room. And then once they have reached the level of price they wanted for the number of buyers that is left, and there is a 100% matching for that volume to the need that you have, that's it, that's the right price. But the price keeps going up until the buyers are like, no, I'm not interested. No, I'm not interested. And then whoever is left, if they want 100 banana and there's 100 banana left, that's it. You have the right price. You understand what I mean? So seeing the price going up because buyers and sellers are no longer satisfied with this price, they will be pushing the market up in order to, again, transact at that price for some time. And once they are no longer satisfied with this price, they can be shifting the price down to a level where, again, they will be settling down and transacting. So we don't know for how long those phases of transactions take place. We don't know for how long the market will go up. There's a lot of things that we ignore in the market. We have just to first organize our head around what is a trend, what is a range, and how do we recognize both. A trend, everyone has a different definition of a trend. I'll give you mine. A trend are two phases of breakups of the previous high. This is a high. This is a high. Okay? So every time you face the market here breaking this level on the upside, you have a breakout. It is called a breakout phase. You know, when something is breaking a line, and it's like when you try to break, you put a finger across some paper and you break it. It's simple as that. It's a breakout. So there are people staying by this level, and poof, there's a panic. The panic can be on the downside if the breakout is down, and if the breakout is up, the panic is on the upside, because you can panic in both directions in the market. You can buy, and if you need to close the position, you sell in profit. If you don't close the position in profit, you need to sell in a loss. So you will panic by selling. You understand me? If you are a seller, if you are looking at making a profit, you will close that position of sell as a buy, because that buy close a sell position. If I sell something for $10 and I buy it back later at $6, I make $4 profit. Or I can choose to buy something at $6 and sell it at $10. It's the exact same target profit. We are just conducting this operation in two different ways. We can do this in the market. We can sell first and buy later. And it costs less in the Forex market to do that than to buy first and sell later. It's different in the equities, but let's talk about the Forex market. So when you expect the price to break, because here, those sellers sitting at this door are now looking at panicking. They have been willing to see the price going down here, and instead the market at their level of entry broke. So they will be pushing the market up. How? When you close a sell position, you buy. So from that point, they will be pushing the market up because they are still standing in this zone here. They have no choice. Okay, they will do the same thing again here. There will be new sellers joining into this spot because they think the market is high. and they expect the price to go down. And if they didn't get to the level of price they want, and I'll tell you they didn't get there, the market will force them to panic because they will still be stuck in this trade, and it will push the market up. So when you have two phases of breakouts like this, 1, 2, technically you have the first of my 3 rules to be in a trend. One of my rules is 2 breakouts, okay? And every single time you need to have higher highs and higher lows. Okay, I'll explain to you why. So the high, the highs, the high, the lows. Second, I need to explain something that has to do with what people want to do in the market as an amateur. Amateur, they have no clue where the price is going. What they want is simply to look at what has already happened and to repeat a movement of same amplitude as what has already happened. It's as crazy as this. Oh, I want to see at this level of price what has happened in the past. Oh, at that price was the best time for buyers to enter to make a profit of great amplitude. That means that I have the confidence to believe that again, I'll be able to support myself with a buy at the same level and make a profit of similar amplitude. That's exactly is the belief for most amateurs in the market, because they have no idea what to do other than that. They can't predict the future. So they look at the immediate past. And that's exactly what they want. In this, let me just show it to you in green. If they are selling, they want to sell here in order to push the market down back to this door. You see here? Try to understand what I mean. You will have sellers entering here, pushing the price down. If there are sellers interested to repeat the same process again, because you have to remember at that time, the market was here, right? It was the highest point at that time, before it broke. You see the trend hindsight, but imagine the trend before it becomes a trend. It was like this, right? You had an upward momentum, you were at the high level in the market went down, you think it's a good idea to go in for a sell, because you want to repeat the movement of similar amplitude as what happened before, and what happens? You don't get there. The market goes up. And the reason is simple. If you try to push yourself up for, let's say, 5 stairs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but instead of, from the moment you try to enter to push the market up, somebody is hitting you. You had a level of energy put into the market of moving the price by 5 stairs. It's not a system trading where people are pushing like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They don't do that. What they do is, if you were to take a chair, for example, if I was to push that chair to make it move by 5 stairs, I would just have to do this. Just a simple push. And the market will be on its way to reach 5 stairs. You understand? The whole energy for the buyers to start or for the sellers to start a move is all concentrated at the start. That's how the market works. So when they push the market for creating that momentum, but from the very first moment they enter, the market is pushing them back. What is it for? It is for them to panic. Yes. And if they were aiming to push the market up by 5 stairs, and they panic instead, they will push the market in the opposite direction by how many stairs, roughly? Why? Why 3, 2? If they need to close whatever they bought, and they bought for pushing the market up by 5 stairs, if they close, they will move the price back by minimum 5 stairs. Minimum, why? Because you don't know how many buyers there will be when you sell. But there might be not enough buyers to support all your selling. So minimum will be 5 stairs. It could be more. So that's why when you see this, and they were aiming to go down, and instead now they are going up. The market should be going up for a distance minimum equivalent to the previous retracement. In other words, whatever those sellers wanted to do here by pushing the market down the same distance, that distance should be reflected in the breakouts. So the breakout should have a distance minimum equivalent to the previous retracement. Is that clear? Yes.
So sellers pushing the market down is false. Are those whales?
Sorry?
The sellers pushing the market down in the green. Are those whales or?
The sellers pushing the market down? No, they are amateurs. A complete amateurs. They are doing the same thing that has already happened. If you repeat something that has already happened, you are no longer the first of its kind, the first of your generation to do it. In other words, you are not courageous. You are just trying to repeat something that already exists. You are not courageous. And a non-courageous person is exactly the definition of an amateur in the market. So we will look at this. Actually, you're right. What is a whale? A whale acts as a leader in the market. A shark will act as a follower. He is trying to repeat the movement of the whale, but not at the same price. The shark will repeat the movement that the whale has instillated, but not at the same price. He will not wait for the price to come back to the same low level. So he will try to find somewhere in the middle a chance to getting in. But he doesn't know where exactly it is. That's why he's courageous. And I'll tell you where exactly to find that entry. You will be able to get in as a shark, as a leader, or eventually, if you want, as on the last phase of the trend, which we call the non-courageous followers. The first phase are the leaders, and the leaders, you can be a leader, but you cannot be a whale. So I call them not whales, but leaders. They are where the whales enter. We can enter like them, but we can't be a whale. You understand the difference? Whales are the leaders. Sharks, I'm calling them the courageous followers, because they get to put an entry in the market. Look, if I show you, these are the leaders. The whales, okay? Starting the trend. The price is going up, and by the time it gets to this level, we will see who, but some people are closing their position. And some people are also entering as a sell for the first time. The market goes down. At this level, new buyers want to come in. People who didn't get in the first time here, who missed the chance of getting in for that first ride. And they will get in for a profit of what? Of same amplitude as these guys. They want to repeat something that has already happened. They are the courageous followers because they don't wait till the price comes down here. They will get in right in the middle of it, okay? Now, if you see these guys operating and these guys operating, these ones will be called the courageous followers. So this is generally when the sharks come in. Then the price goes up and now reach this level. Again, the price comes down. Now, what are we sitting on? A very visual opportunity to buy. Why? Because things happened already once. Things already happened twice. Now, visually, it is easy to imagine that on that level, somewhere here, if you draw something called a trend line, you will be able to get in for a third time. You see, it's not the first time, it's not the second time, it's the third time. What are the chances like that you will make a profit of same amplitude as these guys from here to here, from here to here, by entering here? What are the chances? What do you think are the chances? Do you think you can get out with maximum profit? Very difficult, huh? But you know the problem. The problem is the trend is not a trend till you are here. Why? Till you're here. In other words, this is when trend starts. The trend starts only after one break up here and two breaks up here. That's it. That's officially a trend. But by the time the trend is a trend, it's too late. You understand my point? When people tell you, you have to buy to follow the uptrend, or you have to stay with the trend is almost ending by the time you see it. And this is the problem. Most of the time, when you see things, it's already too late. When they are becoming visible, they are not optimally tradable. Think about this notion. What is visible, what is optically visible is not practically tradable. You need to stay in the invisible side of the story when it's not yet visible. This is the best time to make money, not when it's already on display. Because the natural, your brain creates efficient models, and we all having the, I'm hoping you guys are, when you are living your life, you use your brain optimally. And if you do that, you will be thinking the same, everyone, at different levels, of course, but almost the same. You create efficient models. If I tell you today, by coming to this webinar, do you remember anyone on the way to this webinar? Do you remember the guy, the lady sitting on the bench, which color they were dressing with, what nationality they were? You didn't pay attention because you created your efficient model. You only remember what you want to remember. And the market makes you remember those things that are not important to remember, and makes you forget to look at those things that are not easy to see and not easy to recognize. And these are the ones that you have to locate. You understand? So I just want to keep it simple for now. Leaders, courageous followers, and the last phase of the market will be the non-courageous followers. These are the small fish. This is us. And we want to profit from a profit, we want to take advantage of a profit for a same amplitude as these guys from here to here. And you know what? We will never get it. We will never get it. That distance here, guys, will not be as big as this one. And what's going to happen when those guys reach this level? What do you think will happen? Tell me. Huh? Yes? How? What's going to happen concretely? See, on the way up, I'm just going to highlight this one more time. Look. Here, we had some people coming in for a sell. Those guys probably didn't get out alive yet. If they have not closed their position here, when the market came back to zero, you see they were in distress, the market went against them, they entered here, the price went up, they were selling, now they are negative, the price is coming down. To give them a chance to get out, what do? They take that chance and they get out, right? Would you do that if you were putting yourself in a trade and immediately you are negative? Of course you don't want the trade anymore. You don't want to stay in it. It's natural. So what's going to happen to most of those sellers when the price comes back to zero? They close, they buy. And by buying, they push the market up. This is why you see this here, this upward phase. You get it? And now again, these guys who have entered as a sell, again, thinking this time it's the right price for a sell. And they got killed here. Some of them did not close their position yet. They want to wait for the price to come back to zero before they get out, right? But a lot of them would still want to get out. So this panic phase at the end, sorry, something disappeared. Yep, I'm back. Here, this panic phase that you see here is not only going to be these people panicking, it's also going to be these people panicking. Whoever did not yet close their position from this spot here over there will be forced to close it somewhere. And you know what they do? They wait for the last man standing on the way up. No sellers, and then at this point they're like, okay, if you die, man, I'm closing with you. And this is the last phase of the trend, when everyone panics. If I was to represent you what this looks like, it's an excess phase. It's an excess phase. You don't, sorry. Okay, so here you will see at this point of time, it will look it's panicking, long-term panic. And what is going on here? It's a lot of buy, right? My question to you is very simple. Do you think the people buying up there are people entering a position, or do you think they are people closing a position? Closing a position, absolutely. Who would be stupid to buy at that level? Nobody sensible enough as an amateur will buy here. But this is the best buy, guys, because this is when all amateurs panic. So if there was something you would remember just for once, is when do you want to buy? When it's actually the most aggressive time, when the price goes up to give you some food, or not when everybody thinks whether it's a good time or not. It's on the EQ of people, when the people are emotionally involved in the market. It's called the EQ because people are panicking. Emotional quotient. The panic is the emotional quotient of the market. Where you guys want to enter at the bottom of a swing is the IQ, intelligent quotient. When market is going down and you want to make it go up, you're basically reversing a previous move. It's the IQ. Okay? When you want to follow a move, because this move is actually on the way to panic, it's the EQ, emotional quotient of the market. So what I'm asking you is, when is the most healthy time for you if you want to enter the market today? It is not when everyone is IQ as an amateur. Because when they are IQ as an amateur, they will panic. Somebody will hit them. You understand me? You understand? You cannot play what other people play. So when the market is panicking, when the amateurs are in EQ time, this is when you have to enter, to jump in, to make your money. You have to become IQ when these guys are EQ. You have to be intelligent in the trade when they have to be emotional. You understand? This is the only good trades that are given to you when people panic. Because the panic is natural. Panic will not happen. When you guys are not making money, you're in distress, you're emotional, you panic, you give up your money. This is where I take the money. When you guys are making money, when do you book your profits? Here, here, here. Sometimes you remove your TP, you don't even respect the TP, your target profit. You want to let it go more. You have greed. You want some more. So when do I enter against you when you are making money? Difficult. How do I know when you will stop making money? But I know when you will stop losing. I know where your stop loss can be. I know when you will start panicking. You understand my point? Being emotional is being visible. And that's when I come in as a professional. You understand my point? So the trend that you see out there, and this phase of EQ is beneficial for who? For the professionals. Who wants to take advantage of that panic? Who wants to take advantage of all this buy quantity? Remember, guys, the guy who entered here the first time? Remember this guy? What is he doing when the price was at the lowest? What was he looking to do? So I can't see anyone when they are writing to me. I would like to see if they are interacting with me on the chat. No, on the chat. Yeah. Where's the chat? Sorry, guys. For those of you who are online, I have not been seeing any of your messages. If you have tried to message me, give me a second. Okay, nobody's interacting with me on the chat, so fine. Can we leave the chat somewhere? Yeah, we can. Okay, so yeah, perfect. That's better. Good. Now I can see if you want to write something on the chat. No, I think I will be able to see what you are writing, guys. Okay, so I will make a small break of about 10 minutes. We are listening. Good. I'm going to make a break of 10 minutes just for some refreshments for the people in the room. I apologize for that. This is what we do usually. So please take this time also to freshen up and come back to us in 10 minutes. Thank you very much.
my time in touch with the client that the client we were buying here on the way down. He was estimated to get back from the panel. After that time, we were not here with the back to something happened. And this morning we were buying that. Overall, yeah, it's what? So let's go on the my plan. You know, I don't know. I try to house this in my plan. Right. So the pattern. No, too much. Are you on the long term or so you're I know I cannot get away from it, but it's not I think from the week one. That's what I think. So to me, I recently attended for in many schools. Workshop pretty much as you now AI is changing the world.
On financial trading,
And how to trade for beginners. For now, it's not you are not yeah, it's almost better. But again, you cannot the lower that I didn't. So once you wait for it to go down, I don't see the market. But where the up goes, that I give it a clear session and one o'clock. So it goes the high that some people what are you doing that one? You show all of them. Where right now? You guys remember
Who? No, they have a question. Guys, if you have a question.
So you come to it. Yeah. What is the question?
Hi guys, we're back. So sorry, it's an online session. I was told. So I was trying to give some idea about a chart to some of the people in the room. So my apologies for the delay. I will show you something. One of my guests here today wants me to analyze a chart on the stock. So let's go to.
Hey, can you minimize the chat?
Yeah.
Because it's blocked part of the screen.
It's sorry?
It's blocking part of the screen. So if you've answered the question, you can.
Yeah, that way. So.
You can answer it verbally. It's okay.
I'm going to open a station that you can access online called tradingview.com, where you can basically analyze pretty much anything you want, from stocks to cryptocurrency on the cash. Of course, obviously, it's not limited, it's the cash itself. You can have access to currency, ticker, so pretty much anything you want. So if, for example, here, sorry. So I was told to analyze FISX, sorry, FX, yes, sorry, yes, yes. The first one, right? Yeah. So for the question that was that has been asked to me on the chat room from Pratesh, hi, in the stock market, is it correct to say that the biggest players will hold mostly cash positions? Yes, that's right. It's mostly about cash positions. But they will be using the market either to find a market for their products. So they will be able to find a wholesale market for whatever they buy in bulk. If it could be in the form of producers such as Danone, they can look at a wholesale market to resell the big quantity too. Generally, the quantity that you will find in the market. For example, let me give you the one I know, cocoa. The cocoa market, whatever you see on display on the chart is given to you by what is available through trading online after the big player have been transacting among each other by selling to each other those big quantities directly from producer to wholesaler. So we're not talking about big markets. We're not talking about big players selling directly to the wholesaler, because the majority of that quantity that has been produced in cocoa market, 96% of it, has already been resold and will not appear, will not show up anywhere on the chart. What you see on the chart is what is left available for you guys to trade with, whether you are at the level of whale, shark, or small fish. So you are playing on the cocoa market if you were to trade futures on the cocoa market with only 4% of the entire world production. Anywhere, what is available is very limited when it comes to commodity, because the commodity market, if it is perishable, will have already its end market. You understand the idea of being perishable is when you can't keep that physical quantity pending in a storage room for 4 months, because the risk is that if it becomes perishable, the quality of that production will lower over time, and the value of that quantity will also lower over time, and you won't be able to resell it at the market value. You understand? So most of what you will see out there, if it's on the commodity space, is only what is left available, which is very limited, 4%, 3%, 5%, depends on the seasonality. Well, we are talking about currency markets. To be honest, there's a lot of speculation, even from the big player level. So they buy to sell after trying to hit some people's stop loss. It's not really a market for them to expose the cash they have in order to leave the position long run. So it's very difficult to give you the real nature of the Forex market as of today. But truly, the big players, they play for both, for outright position and for hedging. I can't tell you what is the percentage of the outright positions versus the hedging positions for the big players. I'm sorry, I don't know this information. Okay, so I'm carrying on with this chart, which is a stock traded on an exchange called NASDAQ. I'm not even sure what is the true nature of that stock, to be honest. I'm not going to speculate on that. So it's about fashion retailer that uses AI to recommend clothing. Very interesting. Very interesting. So, you chose to trade it. So, the client here wants to know what I would think of this market. Okay, this is not a trend as per the definition we have seen of a trend. What is not a trend has to be put into the category of a range. There are only trends in the market or range. Either the market is sideways trending or upward or downward trending. So 80% of the time, the market is said to be in a range, like here. And 20% of the time, you will be seeing on the screen, from the start of that screen to the end of the screen, if you are setting up a number of periods, I'm always working with 233 periods. So 233 candles, if you want to know. That is how I organize my chart. And if you look at the over 233 period, and you see the market has been breaking up twice with the same level of intensity on the breakup than you find on the previous retracement, it is a trend. So you see, the qualification of what is a trend is very, very limiting the potential for the market to be in trend. It's not happening every morning. So when the market is in range, generally, the best thing to do in a market is to sell at the top and to buy the bottom. But the nature of the analysis you need to make when you need to make a view of what is going to happen cannot be done only strictly on one time frame. You need to be watching different time frames in order to see what is happening from the big picture, to see if that big picture is contradicting with the picture that you have on the lower time frame. You understand my point? If you are thinking to sell on the lower time frame, but the idea of the big picture is to be at the bottom of a range on the higher time frame, it is not a good time to sell, right? Because the big player clearly wants to buy. And if you are at the top of your range, if I show you, for example, here, you are seeing on the low time frame, and high time frame. I always use 2 time frames to analyze the market. If you were check on the low time frame and you see a situation like this, you would think now is a good time to sell, right? to bring the price down. What could we expect from a momentum like this? Of course, we need to understand that this level where we are when we want to sell at is so visible. See, the market is sitting on the exact same level, once, twice, and 3 times. So try to enter on that 3rd time when people have identified a level based on 2 points, 1, 2, up, you set up a level and you find the 3rd point. That makes you a non-courteous trader. You understand that one? So if people are expecting to sell here on a very, very visible level, now what's happening on the high time frame? The market is going like this actually. Okay? On the high time frame, we can see that it's clearly not a range. The market has been going down. Sorry, I'll probably make it a little more. Okay, what do we see here? We see clearly a downtrend. 1 break, 2 break. Yes? The price is going back up, and there is no disqualification of that trend. The reason why the trend is still on is because there are still lower highs, like I said, and lower lows. And when the trend ends is when the price comes back to the previous swing, which is the level where the last sellers managed to break the last buyers. When the sellers are strong enough to hit the market to break the last buyers, it creates what I call a swing. And the swing is, for me, a level where sellers are very strong. So as long as this level of swing is not broken by that trend, that means that still you are in a trend in motion. If the price is playing like this, and you get into a new high here, at this level, sorry. This is a new lower high. And this lower high is not broken, you see, by the market. Most importantly, it's not a swing. Why is it not a swing? Because that sell did not break that buy. You understand me? So these sellers are not strong. You cannot consider that to be a strong position for sellers to enter. If they were strong, they would have pushed the market down to this spot and break it to make it look like this. Okay? But unfortunately, it did not happen. So you are standing now between 2 zones, this one and this one. Technically, you are still in the trend. You understand? The trend will disqualify only when the price goes up to test this swing here. As long as the price doesn't touch that level, which we call the highest point of that swing, it's the high of that candle, then we are still in the trend. By the time the trend reverses, and the energy of the reversal here is double the distance of the previous players, you see that? Look at the distance here. It will be generally double. You will find enough buyers in to reverse the trend. And as long as the price is locked up, meaning reach the last swing, that sell point here, then you will be automatically into a disqualification of the trend. It will become a range automatically. But we are not in this case right now. So if I come back to how it was, okay. In this case, the lecture that we can make of that is that the trend is on. And when we see the low time frame at the top of its range for a good sell, but we can see at the same time we are at the top of momentum where people could possibly sell, it should make it a good sell. If and only if on the low time frame it's not visible. The problem is that level is too visible. You know what's going to happen? The price will actually break here on that level. It will break up to hit the stop loss of those sellers here. And once it has touched that seller, the market will be going down like this. Overall, after hindsight analysis, when you look at it, you'll be like, hey, that was the top of the range. And you were still in the downtrend. Why on earth did I get stopped out? But you did the right thing. Simply, you did it at a very visible point. But the analysis you should have made is follow the high time frame game, be cheap when you enter the trade, and you'll make money. Now, the most difficult thing is looking at the high time frame analysis the right way and trading the low time frame by not being visible. So I'm going to show you what is possible. I'm going to give you another example if you want of what I do, and we look at your market. Low time frame, higher time frame. Suppose now I'm looking at something like this. Okay, and on high time frame we're here. So that point here and this point are the same. Okay, so I would like you to tell me if you have understood what I've said so far. What is happening on the low time frame, or what is happening on the high time frame? Guys, you can also participate on the chat if you want. You tell me if the low time frame, according to you, is a range or is it a trend, as per the definition I gave you, and what is happening on the high time frame? Is it a range or is it a trend? After that, you will tell me if you think you are in the high or in the low of that trend or in the range. We will discuss what are your options after. So let's start with the higher time frame. The question is, what is happening? Is it a range or is it a trend? It's a range, absolutely. We don't have two breakouts, so it's typically a range. Now, are we in the lower range or in the higher range? Exactly. So, according to the high time frame, suppose there's nothing happening on the high time frames. So this one is where the game happens. High time frames, everything is middle of range. So everything sleeps on, for example, this is H1, this is H4. Sorry, low time frame is H1 time frame. High time frame is H4. We are talking about D1 and week 1 time frame. Nothing is happening on that. So we want to see what's the action like on H4, yep. And you telling me that this is a good time for a buy because it's in the lower range. It's absolutely right. The high time frame is giving you the direction in the market. It's telling you where the price will go. Now, how do you take that trade is based on the lower time frame. You understand that? If you are watching the lower time frame and the price is now at this level, what would you say about the low time frame? Is it a trend or is it a range? According to the definition. And you are looking at the whole screen here, huh? You see everything. It's a range. Very good. Because it didn't break twice the high. So only one break here of the high at this level, not enough. So it's a range, and you are the higher range. So technically speaking, it's a good time for a lot of people trading on that time frame to sell. And it's a level that is very visible. You can see it happened after 1, 2, 3 times. So you are at the time for selling on the low time frame, sorry, but the high time frame is contradicting with your plan. It is telling you, wait, if you just think of selling here, the high time frame players will take advantage of you to hit you. Because it's so easy, they will locate you all at one spot, and they can just push the market a little bit up, and all of you will die at the same time, all at the same time. And that's exactly what they want. Yes? We are looking at 233 pairs, 233 pairs on one chart. So you plot on the high time frame, for example, something like this. I'll show you. This is the euro dollar. Yes, sorry. Here you go. So this is your high time frame. Let me show you 233 pairs. You take the ruler and you go back roughly by 227. That's it. You have 233 pairs here. This is how many pairs people look at when they trade. Depends on the inch screen, but on average, whether you have 16 inch, 15 inch, now 19 inch, 21 inch. This is a 19 inch screen. Kind of over. So you can see what is happening overall. Is it a trend or is it a range? Exactly. Where are you located in that range? Is it at the low of the range, at the high of the range, or in the middle of the range? Middle of the range. That's in the middle of the range, nothing happens. You skip the trade. You don't want to speculate because it's 50-50. Okay? Ranges happen 80% of the time. If you were to trade a range in the middle of the range, you are more in the random space than you could possibly be. You need action. You need to make more reward than the risk you are taking. So you need the price to move in a direction. If the market is basically telling you I'm on the center of gravity, why would you find it any good reason to get in on the center of gravity? There's no deviation from the price. Yes, but this is a different dividend. But from a speculative point of view, you need a deviation from the mean. You need to be away from where the mean stands. And trying to understand what is the mean today and where you stand from the mean today. But it's more important to understand where the mean is going to go tomorrow. Because if the mean pushes up and the price has deviated low, you know you have a chance to make money. But if the mean is high and the price is low and the mean is going down, you know that you might not even get anywhere above your entry price. You understand what I mean? You want me to repeat? If your mean is at this level, the price deviates from the mean, and now you are here from that level, and the price is good for a buy according to you, but you did not understand what the big picture says. The big picture wants to go down. The mean of the market will shift down. It doesn't mean that the price will go up before it goes down again. It may just stand here and wait for the mean to go down. And worse, it can even go down, pushing the mean down. You understand? And that will make you at risk, will put you at risk. So you need to make sure that the center of gravity, which is given to you by the high time frame players, is going in the right direction for you to play the trade. And we can only follow that direction, not go against. So this is the high time frame, and the low time frame will be the same thing on H1. You look at the last 233 period of H1 as if you were trading. And you know what? It doesn't matter really what's happening before. Very simply why. I did this exercise with my students many times. I've been asking them honestly to look back what happened here. See, generally people will do this in the morning just to check what happened in the past before the price would go back to the present. And you know what? As soon as they see the present, you know how long it takes them to forget about what they've seen? 20 seconds. So it doesn't matter. Don't even look at what happened before. It has no interest. And don't even think that what you see here has any kind of importance to what's happening here. It is not. What is important to analyze, of course, you need a long-term picture. You need a 233 pair to set up your center of gravity in the market, which is in the form of support and resistance. But more importantly, the most important market story is happening right here. If there's an acceleration, that acceleration, you won't see it from here. You will see it from here, right? So why do people stare at that? Why do they feel so comfortable looking at that? But it's just pure speculation. It means nothing to the market. So do you understand what I meant? High time frame, low time frame. Okay, I'm back to my notes. So we are in the lower range on the high time frame, which is the direction. We are on the high level of the low time frame, which is your decision-making time frame for entering a trade. Now, if you were to position a sell here, being blind of what's happening on the high time frame, you are exactly doing what a hunter is doing when he's just hiding behind a tree and he's looking at the forest like this, not seeing that there's a wolf hiding behind the tree. If he could have standed from a different perspective on that same forest, you would have seen everyone eventually on levels that are dead ends, angles. That is your way of analyzing if there's an enemy or not. Now, you want to buy? Is that tell you it's a good time to buy? It looks it's not a good time to buy. Because it is at the high of a range. So what you will do is, most of you will be waiting for the price to go down before you could possibly see a good buy opportunity here. See, that is the IQ way of thinking. If you were to buy here, you will be an IQ. You will think the market is going up, you sell, the market is going down, you buy. Simple as normal. Okay, you will try to find a level, an entry level that is not visible from anyone. Okay, you will enter on people's stop loss at a lower rate. As long as it's invisible, it's a good buy. But not easy to find. What else can you do that it's easy to find? Look at this, guys. This spot. Very obvious that a lot of amateurs will come here, right? Now, with a lot of volume of amateurs of what we consider when you look at Bloomberg and Reuters, they call it the non-commercials. When you see a mass of non-commercials coming at the same time, you know what they do? The commercials, they activate automatically their algorithms, the famous AI. They don't have to stand behind. Boom, automatically when there's an excess of, at the time where they analyzed on the market, wait, this is way too expensive for people to sell right now. Because for us, it's clearly the market is starting to go up. And when they analyze that, boom, what they do, they hit their buy volume. They know they have a good chance to enter a buy when the sellers are the most aggressive against them so that they can all buy their quantity at the best price, at the cheapest price. And then, it pops. Like a cooker stove pops when there is too much pressure on it. And panic starts going up. And when the panic is on its way up, they will put themselves against and they will close their position when the panic hits them. So they get in at the best price when there's a lot of pressure, acceleration against them, and they will be exiting when there's a lot of acceleration against them, so that they are out with some profits. Clearly provokes profits, but they cannot make money other than buying, because otherwise, with all the volume, if there's nobody in the market, by selling, they will move the price down a lot. By buying, they will move the price up a lot. And they cannot afford doing that, the big players. If they buy here, and they move the way up here, now the price is here, right? Where's the average price? Here, in the middle. So they are negative, they are in a negative position of that much with a lot of volume. That's not what they want. And presumably, if they do anything about that, what's going to happen? People will think now it's a good time to sell. So they put themselves in a situation where if they push, but they don't break anyone, what's going to happen to them? It's going to come back as a ricochet, because there's so much selling power. At some point, if they don't kill the selling power will take advantage of that situation with the price cheap. But if the price push and they meet that level and they break it, that's it. It's the time when they put themselves now and they take the profit when all the people were selling panics. So they take advantage to close the position when the people they break panics. As simple as that. Understand this, guys. This level where you see it might not be a good time to buy. It's the best buy ever. You may think it's not a good buy because it looks high. But who are you? You are following this game. You are thinking like this. You should be acting like this, guys. And it doesn't matter what you see on the low time frame is just to find the best entry point. It doesn't mean that it should look nice on the low time frame. You see the difference? The people who think it should look nice on the low time frame are the amateurs. It should look uncomfortable on the low time frame for you to buy it. And this is your best point of entry. Because nobody will think one bit of a second. If it's good here, of course, it has to be confirmed here. But if it's uncomfortable here to buy, and it's comfortable here to buy, the best buy in the world. Because so much amateur selling volume will come. You have to be contrarian. So this is a good time. This is a good time to put that buy. Obviously, there are techniques that we use to do this well, because be careful, and you can't just enter like this only. The market may go down, hitting your stop loss, and go up, but technically, it's going to go up. Do you understand? So I'm going to go back to your example. Sorry if it took me some time to explain all this. Sorry, I need your help on that one. Okay, just give me a second, guys. Okay. All right. So quickly, we're going to do this game of low time frame, high time frame, and you're going to be telling me what you think of this. We are here on D1 time frame, and unfortunately, I cannot show you 233 period in the past because the market just got into an IPO 3 months back. If I'm not wrong, yes, 5 months back. It was in November. So as of what we see here, where are we? Is it a range or a trend? A range, yes. Is it the higher range or the lower range? Okay. Higher range according to you? How do you know? Okay. Now, to find that whether you're in a high range or low range, I use instruments called Fibonacci. Where is it? Sorry. Here you go. And you take it from the lowest point in the last 233 period, and you go all the way up to the highest point in the last 233 period. And you look at 1/3, 2/3 of your screen. You basically divide your screen into 3 parts. One is this one, okay, and the other one is this one, okay. So you see where we are now standing at? Almost we are about to enter the higher range. We are on that level, you see? 1/3 roughly, middle and lower range. So technically, middle of range slash start of higher range. Okay, let's see. We are going to analyze now the low time frames, H4. Because D1 doesn't tell me much. It shows me if the market is almost in the middle of range, nothing is happening from that time frame point of view, meaning the people trading on that same time frame are sleeping. Let's look at the low time frame to see if there's kind of action. You know what we often say, when the cat sleeps, the mice dance, right? Let's see if what the mice are doing, if there's an opportunity or not. Okay, we are analyzing the market in the last 33. Of course, there's no 33, so we are back into the same, it's the same, high low. So there is no D1 game at the moment, unfortunately, on that stock. It's only H4. And on the H4 time frame, we are about to enter the higher range. Let's watch H1. These are the benchmark time frames that amateurs trade. I watch the same time frames because I want to understand how they think. That's one. Okay. So what is this, guys? In the last 233 period. This is about 230 hours. Okay. Here we go. So roughly, we're here. 233. What is it? Or not range at all? I'm sorry for the lack of data. It's because the market is illiquid. The more liquid, the more interaction in the market, the more you will find the price is less choppy like this. Okay, higher or lower range? Higher range, and the high time frames seem to be in a middle of range scenario. That means that so far there is no danger for you to sell. You are coming into a zone where it becomes very cheap for a sell. The high time frames will not try to go against you because they are sleeping. You understand what I mean? If the high time frame is a middle of range, you can do whatever you want in the low time frame. As long as it's high, you sell. As long as it's low, you buy. It obviously doesn't prevail in the forex market because there's always something happening on the high time frame. But in equities, you do have, I would say, quality times for you to trade the low time frames because the high time frame doesn't always want to do something. Do you understand? And by high time frame, you can be trading H4 time frame with H1 to trade H4 to analyze. You can be having a high time frame of D1 for you to trade on H4. You need to analyze the market on week 1 to trade on D1. Always the most immediate lower time to the one that you analyze. So week 1 with D1, D1 with H4, H4 with H1. Please do not make an analysis on 2 time frames above you. In other words, if you are trading H1, not H4 but D1, if you find out there's something to do on D1 to buy, don't buy on H1. You're going to get killed before you can even realize it. Why? Look at it. If I throw a big pile in the sea and whales are coming to catch it, it's their game, right, to play. It's not mine. If I come in as a small fish, what's going to happen to me? I can be hit. Even though it's not the willingness of the players, I can be hit against a rock and die. That's because the market is too aggressive, too volatile. It will move in a very a volatile way, and it could hit your stop loss before you can even be right. So be careful not to play a G1 game on a time frame that is too small, because the level of precision that you need to be able to enter at the right time for you not to be hit is very difficult to okay. So what do we think here? It's a good time for a sell. Now, if I was to use some of my tools, it's a bit difficult, but I will see here there is a zone. I would like to stay on the behavioral analysis side, not going too much into the technicals, but this is a strong zone where the last buyers you see here, buyers, and here you face a situation that carry positions, but people are not right. Basically, they didn't get a chance to get out of this trade from the moment they entered. 100% are still stuck in this trade. They are the only buyers that will give you a healthy timing for you to sell. Not only because it's not the same higher. So most amateurs will be waiting here to sell. You are entering before, but also because there are people closing their position while you are entering. If I could see what I'm trying to say here, because there is no reason for you now to sell, but the best sell timing will be that one, right? Because it's invisible, because it's healthy, and it has not been unfilled. It's a fresh zone that has not been tested yet. And by the time the price, oh, what is going on? Somebody is touching at the mouse. By the time the price comes back here, yes, it's moving. Okay. By the time the price, by the time the price comes back here, most people will think that maybe it's a good time to go into a buy. Why? Because the people to buy will be the people who will be in the lower time. Look, can I show you one last thing? Why am I saying it's a sell? Let's go into the low time frame. I need to make sure that the low time frame people want I will make sure the low time frame people want to buy. So that it's helping in the low time frame. Remember the story. The food. I need to make the food for low time frame players. Look at what's happening on the low time frame. In the last 233, you see it's very difficult to not see here 233. Actually, it's here. Look, it's clearly an uptrend. You see an uptrend here. You have to buy here. See the same pattern. You don't like what you always see here. People do not want to buy. It's called, because I said the last one, it was not different. Sometimes call it the cautious phase. People are not yet thinking it's a good time to buy. Put in a lot of volume for buy. Here, it's what we call the confidence phase. Okay. I'm going to do this again. I got out of my online. So here, it's what we call the cautious time. People want to buy, but they are not so much thinking to buy because they don't know yet it's going to become a trend. Here, during that upper phase, there will be one break, and here at the time, there will be more confidence going to that buy. It's called the confidence time. What is confidence? During the next one, who is going in here for a buy? The people are the ones who have convinced. That's it. I'm convinced. It's the one time to me that shows that the buy is healthy. And they are going to start buying. This is where the biggest buy volume comes from. And if I see any reason to go in as a sell, it will be somewhere here in this zone. Why? Because my high time frame clearly express the idea to go to a sell. Sorry, internet is. I may have a good reason to sound so horrible. What is this? I don't see you see there were a lot of buyers here, and then there were a lot of other sellers. And oh, okay, sorry, there are a reason here to sell. Here to sell, but not for too long. One is here. To me, the market could go down to this level. You see here at the moment. If it's an intermediate sell, it could go down. But personally, I don't think that this swing here, you see that, is as this one. I prefer you waiting for that swing because here there were a lot of buyers. Here, the buyers will be less likely to buy because they have started to understand the market is starting to go down. So why would you expect a lot of buyers to panic, which is what you're expecting? And now they have to panic, which is wait that if it doesn't reach that point, then it's fine. You have to get on board. It's too late to buy. Please don't put yourself in there because you will be a complete amateur. And if there's any blockage or any rumor or anything of some sort, you will be the first one impacted. But definitely at this level, it will be a very good. So I think we can always extend this session for another 3 days without any sleep. It's okay. There's so much. I would love to reinvite you guys for another session on behavior analysis. It was really nice. Thank you. Thank you very much for you to come today. It has been a first because we are trying to communicate more on the online training aspect. We're about to launch our first training course on the 30th of this month for people that will be in this room, but also for people who want to join us from any side of the world. And you're more than welcome to ask for information if you're interested. On my end, I can leave you my business card. If you want to contact me, you have my personal phone number. You can get hold of me at any time. Please don't try to call me at 3 a.m. on Saturday. My wife will kill you. But other than that, you can ask me anything you want. On the training side, I'm probably going to be able to help you. When it comes to the business environment side, please contact Arohi or Ranveer. They are the two people that are working extraordinarily here in this organization. They can really help you for anything that has to do with your administration. Okay? Thank you. If you have any question, I'm more than happy to spend 10 minutes, whether it's from the people on the chat or you guys. If you want. What is it? An analyst on? Of course. For you guys who are on the chat, if you have any question, please submit them on the chat. I will answer them straight after that. Let's go into the wait. I just need Sorry. I don't get you. Thank you very much, guys, from the chat. Hope this was helpful. I wish I could have said more today, but more than welcome to join us again for another session with us. Thank you for your time today. Very nice. Next time, hopefully, I can hear you. It will be. I will try to make sure that you can interact with us also, so that everyone in this room can take benefit from your questions as well. So, what is the ticker? BTC. Ah, yeah, it's the Bitcoin.
Yeah.
You should have just said Bitcoin.
Yeah.
I'm analyzing this one all the time. Okay. Okay, no problem. I have no problem. No, I don't know. It's not me. It's how do you write it? Bit? No, but Bitfinex?
No, it will come on the list down. On the
Bitcoin / Bitfinex. Oh, yep.
No, but not.
No, it's not for them.
Yeah.
Do we have follow-up sessions? Well, if by that you mean would be other sessions to carry on what we have started here today, yes, of course. I cannot give you the exact place. Please contact Arohi or Ranveer team. There will be more answer the question. But I will be the one hosting that session. Don't worry. Thank you, Anant. So, coin dollar, okay. So my view on the Bitcoin is very bearish because I don't think from a financial point there's going to be another rise up for this currency. For many reasons, I believe the Bitcoin has been obviously a speculative bubble in a similar way than the tulip mania, which was the first bubble for a tulip in the 1622. So it's been a long time. You see, the market exists and has been having that kind of behavior. At some point, one tulip was costing 1 month's salary for an average worker. Could you imagine that when you know what's the price of the tulip today? So I'm not saying we have to take the trade for what's going to happen in 400 years from now, but just for a second, everything that is going up too fast, including real estate, it's subjected to fall down at some point because it's about speculation. As you know, we cannot overprice something. When it's right price, it's fair value. It is not at that price. The fair value will always be the fair price and will always come back to that price. The productivity line is in the economy is what is our line of reference. Every time the market, the economy center of gravity increases too fast, like look at the S&P, look at the Nasdaq, look at the Dow Jones, it is subjected to come back to that center of gravity at some point in the future. And that some point is every 10 years. Every time the price falls and the recession ends, we are back to the center of gravity. After that, yes, it's becoming another rise up as fast as we would have left to the last crisis, but it's okay. It's going to come down to that same point again. I will show you later on the S&P 500. I'll tell you what I mean by that. So the Bitcoin, to me, has at some point this kind of acceleration. Okay, but it's not really this one that I'm concerned of. It's more like this one, that I don't think the Bitcoin is subject to. I think the price still has room to go further down. Again, I would like to focus on cautious, confidence, conviction. See, the first time the Bitcoin has been launched, actually really becoming interesting, it was in 2016, even 2015. If you start looking at the start price of it, you would see, look, it really started increasing from that point. You understand? So you might not see it as important here, but in percentage of increase from a small value, you can just see prices visually 2008 and in 1987. You will see, really speaking, 2008 is massive as a fall versus 1987, but in percentage, 1987 has been the worst ever in history. It has dropped by 70%. So you understand? We are to see the market price going down by 70% of Dow Jones. It will probably drop. At its worst level, 40, 50% of its price, which is huge already. So what we see here is a rise that has been processed by a lot of speculation, and when people it happened so fast, people started to say maybe it's too expensive to go in, and people started selling it, and you know what? They died on the way up. So people what was happening, they were like, okay, let's go in. It was too late. They went in, and some of them have not closed their position here, and the market went down to this level, but went against them till here. Then they died. They closed their position. The market went up. But the people who were in and left were the ones with money. This has been a sudden, amazing increase, which has been obviously which has been provoked by a lot of markets. I think China and India has been contributed the most to the rise of this cryptocurrency. Probably because there was nowhere else to put their money at that time. Bitcoin was the first one launched, not best crypto that we have ever seen from a blockchain technology point of view, but probably one of the most stable and one was the most finished product when it comes to the dynamic of the blockchain. The problem is it's a finished product. There's a limited amount of coins or bitcoins that are in circulation. And the more you try to mine, the more you contribute to the blockchain in order to verify transactions. I'm not going to go through the whole blockchain, but the more you slow down the mining process, because at some point it becomes very complex to assemble those boxes together as the key chain becomes longer and longer. You have to understand there are billions and billions, hundreds of billions of transactions through the Bitcoin per day. So when you make hundreds of billions of transaction with using key generation codes, even though that code is long. But still, at some point, you need to make that code longer if you want to carry on. And making it longer makes it more difficult to assemble these boxes using the same machines to mine. So you need more sophisticated machine. You need supercalculator. Doing that, you will obviously fabricate. You need more electricity usage. You need supercomputers that are more costly. You need to have super processors, super cards to put into your CPU. It will cost more. So very limited places in the world will give you the advantage of mining for making a reward. So if people at some point in the future, it's like everything, when the demand is high, there will be less buyers, less people willing to continue what has happened in the mining. If less people want to mine because it's too expensive and it's less rewarding and it's slow because it takes time before you make your reward, what's going to happen? At some point, it will end. That technology will be much like a museum. You know, it will be like it will have a fair value, like gold, but we will treat like it's not for proper usage. We will remember Bitcoin as the #1 generation of the cryptocurrencies. I believe the next generation of cryptocurrency that is not yet in the market, which is yet to be found, not Ripple, not Ethereum, will be the one that will give you that 10,000% you are looking for, like a penny stock. Not yet at the moment, it's not there. So Ethereum, Bitcoin, Ethereum and other crypto are following the same trend as the Bitcoin at the moment, which is not an unlove, but a loss of excitement for that particular product. What does it mean, a loss of excitement? On the way down that you see here, everyone is now panicking. And you're telling me when people are on the way down, people are buying. Because they think, that's it, I missed the first rally, it's going to go up. But that rally was not a one rally, two rally, three. It was not leader, courageous follower, non-courageous follower. It was leader, courageous, it was 1, 2, 3. Look at me, guys. It was leader, courageous follower, non-courageous follower. Everyone was in this move. Who's left to enter? Only the #4 category, the fools, the desperates. And the fools always lose. Because now they are into late, they are buying, and they will put millions of dollars into it. I know people who are making those transactions. I hear from them, $50 million of Bitcoin I want a -5 or -4% on the current market price to get into it. They all do want to get in desperately. For what? I don't know for what, because every week I wake up and the Bitcoin is going up. Why? Because the amount of selling happening at the moment, imagine the amount of buying that has been going on. Everyone is now booking its profit, and everyone is in panic to book its profit fast, because now it's going down so fast. They want to book something. Before they were like, okay, I'm going to wait for the market to give me what I lost. It's not going down. It's going further down. Okay, give me half. Okay, it's not going. Oh my God, give me a third. Okay, I'm not. You understand? And now on this way down, people are selling. And the amount of selling happening versus the amount of new buyers coming in is obviously more important. The buyers, whoever they are, will not be as many as the amount of selling that's happening at the moment. Imagine we are talking about buyers from here all the way up here. And you think by entering your little buy, you will be able to face a bunch of bulls, horny bulls, trying to run towards you. And let it go. Let it burst. Let it die. Then you get back in. And don't worry, there will be a cheaper price. It's only the desperate people, it's the only people who think, I missed the trade, the fear of missing out, who wants to get back in too soon. Get it out, let it purge. Believe me, if you cause an infection with some puke inside, I'm sorry for everyone listening to me now, but nobody has got food in their stomach, so I can do it. If you have puke somewhere as an infection, and you just try to burst it a little bit, but you leave some inside, what's going to happen? It's going to close, and it's going to get more infected, right? What do you need to heal a problem? Push, you get it all out, then you get back in. So you need to wait until the price comes much lower again. Look at the acceleration, I'm sorry to say, but acceleration goes to the negative. This is not 45 degrees. This is not 45 degrees. This is almost 75, 80 degrees. And angles has its importance. Actually, something like it. Follow it. Go with it. Because you abide with this, that things should go up. No, I'm sorry to say. I told you earlier, this does not exist anymore. Now, you should look at the market like this. Look. If I should say, oh, yeah, it's a downtrend. Let's sell. See how you by what has happened before. I'm telling you what has happened now is more important than what has happened. You get me? So if you want a view, I'm not saying that this is I'm not supposed to advise, especially not when I'm recorded. But if you want my personal view, and it's only for me, through the technicals that I made of this this price action, I believe for the Bitcoin to go down to a level of much lower, a little higher, 2,000 something. And sorry, yeah, just is there any minus here somewhere? Minus here. How can I do? That's not working. Oh yeah. Okay. Okay. So if the price breaks that low here, which is that people are actually buying with this look that the market will down go up. That's why you saw a big acceleration now. But that acceleration is just temporary. There's too much acceleration for it right now. And there's a here that is so I'm not if this level breaks, I need to analyze so I need indicator just for the ATR. Oh, sorry. Well, I need to log in for those tools. Basically, if you want an intermediate level, oh, I think everything got. If you want an intermediate level, I believe the next level for the Bitcoin approach towards the end will be somewhere at 1,000. And at the end of the end, but I don't believe in the 3,000. I really want the 3,000. I think we should get that. And I said that from 19,000 to every one of my students. They were all buying, and I told them to get out there. It has been my attention that Bitcoin. So they started now spending more without and Ethereum was at 5,600 at the time when the Bitcoin was around 10,000, and I went. So wow.
5 times less, you have 500 on the Bitcoin, which is about 2,000. So if you have up to 3,000 is now the Bitcoin, 100 on the other. Until you don't see those levels, close your eyes, forget about it for some time, and start buying. Now, if from that line it goes down, you know, it's not going to carry on until it's zero. There will always be a fair value. Remember, it will be remembered as a museum value. And that value will increase over time because the more there will be new Bitcoin or new crypto currency in the market, the more people will remember that Bitcoin as it was the first. So at least it will have that kind of value. But you cannot trade eBay today. You trade Amazon. Amazon has replaced eBay in the heart of people. The second generation is always the best. When you think of Yahoo, remember we used to chat. We are from the same generation. We used to chat on the Yahoo chat or on the Hotmail, the Messenger, and that's it. Finish the fact Facebook replaced the way we treat our messages. We are more into interacting now. We use WhatsApp. We call on WhatsApp. We take time. We want more security behind what we do. Now, the next generation of people, I believe you should invest in money. Right now, it's cyber defense. Cyber defense because we will need one more cyber defense into the cryptocurrency. We're creating the next strong blockchain technology of tomorrow that will be used for anything with infrastructure. Anything. If you want to create the next yeah. Yes, absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
It will be a blockchain. It will be a blockchain for the name of that. They will create a company through the blockchain that is not owned by what is it? Of companies. It is used by, but it is not.